No terrorist group has yet to take responsibility for the crash. Is that an indication of anything? Joining me now with their thoughts, Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer. He was a CIA-trained intel op. He's now with the London Center for Policy Research. And Robert Mark, a commercial pilot and publisher of jetwine.com. Good to see both of you. Colonel Shaffer, do you find it at all significant that this plane went down immediately after crossing into Egyptian airspace?
It could mean something, it could not. It's one of those unknowns at this point. One of the points I think is important to recognize is that Airbus is a completely automated system. Boeing has a different way of flying their aircraft, basically designing their aircraft. This was a catastrophic loss of control. That means something happened to destroy the ability of the pilots to take command of the flight. Now, when that automated system crashes in an Airbus, it just goes down. Boeing has a way of actually giving control back to the pilots. So there's a precedence for this, and I think we may be looking too not broadly enough at the usual suspects. Ramzi Youssef actually did a bombing like this. Ramzi is actually in a federal prison right now, by the way. Al-Qaeda did a bombing of a Philippine airliner in December of '94, where they actually had a device go off with the intended design of taking the aircraft down by hitting the fuel tank. Missed it, but it took out the flight controls. So we've seen this before, and we have to recognize that Al-Qaeda on the Arabian Peninsula has been pretty silent, but has been desirous of using some sort of a bomb on an airplane for a while. So I think based on, if you look at the patterns of the past, it may be repeating to the future.
Do you then think that Al-Qaeda is a group that we should be honing in on? You've also got ISIS, you've got Boko Haram. There are many different terrorist groups out there right now. When you think of potentially who could have done this, Al-Qaeda's the top of your list?
Well, Al-Qaeda, because they both had the attempt, they've been seeking targets. The shoe bomber, Reed, was trained in Yemen. Yemen has been the place where Al-Qaeda has been rapidly able to expand again. And frankly, you know, this is more of a pattern I would recognize coming out of Al-Qaeda, who, by the way, is probably wanting to compete with ISIS now. So, you know, and no one's taking credit yet. So I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it's a possibility.
That's one perplexing thing, right? Nobody has come forward and taken credit. That said, it did take weeks for ISIS to come forward to claim responsibility for the Russian passenger jet that went down in Egypt recently. Robert, turning to you, when you heard tonight's news that there was smoke in the bathroom, did that make you question at all the terrorism theories that are out there right now?
Oh, it did to me, certainly. It almost seemed like a game changer to me, because the first thing I wanted to know after I heard about the smoke in the cockpit, which of course is an awful thing, because it would cause the crew to lose control of the airplane because they can't even see the instruments. But what I wanted to know was what caused the heat sensors to go off in the bay below the cockpit. What was the cargo this aircraft was carrying? I mean, you know, this could also be a catastrophic failure in the sense that if it was carrying lithium-ion batteries and one of them started to short circuit, it's had this kind of a reaction. So to me, I'm not completely, you know, focused on this terrorism. I'm saying it's not. It could be.
There are a lot of different options out there. They need to find this black box. They have a definite period of time that they need to find it in. What is the likelihood that they'll find it, given the depth of the sea?
Oh, I think they'll find it. I mean, although it took a while, 2 years, as a matter of fact, for them to find the ones from the Air France airplane, we're going to probably find the pingers. The little radio transmitters on these boxes are still emitting a signal that when they get into the right area, they're going to hear them. And they may not be able to grab them right away, but they're going to know pretty darn close where they are on the bottom of the Mediterranean.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Good to have you here tonight.
You're welcome.
Security.